Angel Reese spent the entire game against Toronto shoving, grabbing, and talking trash to Isabelle Harrison. And the moment Harrison finally gave it right back, Reese hit the floor and turned on the waterworks. Reese shot 31% from the field, finished 6 for 19, and her teammates Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard were the only reason Atlanta didn't look embarrassing out there. So when Reese wants to act like she's the face of that franchise after getting physically dominated and then bailed out by the refs, we need to talk about what actually went down in that game. Do you think Atlanta will finally let go of Reese after all this drama? Let me know down in the comments below.
Play on. Whoa, whoa, a lot of contact underneath and a very unhappy Angel Reese as this has been brewing since the first quarter. Izzy.
And right there, that is a absolutely unnecessary foul from Harrison on Reese. And credit Reese and her teammates because that's the angle you got to get the rock into her. She does a good job of sealing, and that frustrates the defense.
Before a single camera caught the Harrison moment, Reese had already spent 3 quarters making herself the most physical player on that floor, and none of it drew a flagrant. From the opening tip, she was shoving in the post off the ball, hand-checking on every seal, and putting her body into Harrison on plays where the ball wasn't anywhere near either of them. The broadcast mics picked up Reese chirping at Harrison at least twice in the first half, so this wasn't quiet physicality either. She wanted Harrison to know it was personal.
Third quarter, but this is where the tension started between Isabelle Harrison and Angel Reese.
Yeah, it was a first half battle. You'll see both of them here getting some calls, a little slap, it gets a little chippy, and then you'll see Izzy scoring on Reese, and she gives it the too small, and then this was the play. You know, 2 hands wrap around, and there's a lot of emotion in that moment. Izzy revs up the crowd a little bit on her.
None of that early contact drew a flagrant because Reese has always been good at walking right up to the line and daring refs to call it. She collected fouls the way she collects offensive rebounds, by initiating contact first and then acting surprised when the whistle blew. By the second quarter, she'd already picked up 2 fouls of her own, which tells you exactly who was pushing the pace physically, and she was still talking the whole time. Harrison's response was mostly silence, and in a trash talk exchange, silence is actually the more threatening move. It means the other person isn't rattled, they're just waiting. Reese has run this exact same playbook before. After the 2023 NCAA championship game, she hit Caitlin Clark with the "you can't see me" gesture directly to her face, then spent weeks telling anyone who'd listen that she was just a misunderstood competitor whenever the clip got replayed. At the 2024 WNBA All-Star Weekend, she was jawing at multiple players on the court. And when the attention got uncomfortable, she told reporters the league was targeting her. The pattern doesn't change because nobody's ever made her pay for it. At least not until June 14th.
So I think of last night when Angel Reese gets thrown to the ground and ends up in tears. The craziest thing is, the reason she's known is for trying to punk and talk crap to a 6'0" 150-pound Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark barely touches her. Common foul. And this is the reaction she gets. You know, she always wants to fight somebody that's smaller than her, but when it's somebody equal size, she doesn't do it. But Caitlin Clark, you say a lot of things about Caitlin Clark if you want to, but she ain't backing down from nobody. It doesn't matter the size, it doesn't matter who it is.
What made the Toronto game different is that Isabelle Harrison isn't a rookie who's going to back down and quietly take it. Harrison's been in this league since 2015, and she's absorbed enough post-contact over 12 years to recognize exactly what Reese was doing. So she stopped moving away from it and started digging her feet in. And before she got ejected in the third quarter, she was leading the tempo with 17 points on 6 of 11 shooting. Harrison wasn't just matching Reese physically, she was winning the basketball matchup too.
Corner that Tamika and I are blind to here courtside, so we didn't get a look at it, but that's...
Here's the foul. Physical play down there. That's the reaction. And, you know, they're both...
Meanwhile, the broadcast kept cutting to Reese's face after contested plays, and she was animated every single time, pointing at Harrison, gesturing at officials, saying something to whoever was closest. That's not a competitor locked into a game. That's someone who needs the external drama to stay focused because the actual basketball wasn't working for her. She started 0 for 4 from the field and the Dreams offense just ran around her, with Gray and Howard pulling up off the dribble, while Reese posted up, got doubled, and either turned it over or launched a contested mid-range that rattled out. Harrison didn't start a fight. She ended one Reese had been running all night. Watch the replay closely because the flagrant 2 ruling and what the camera actually captured are two pretty different things. Reese went into her post move, Harrison contested hard, and Reese went to the floor. The question isn't whether contact happened, it's whether Harrison dragged her down with intentional excessive force or whether Reese's own momentum took her there and she sold the landing on the way down. The replay shows Harrison's arm around Reese's waist. Physical contact for sure, but not the kind of swinging elbow or targeting foul the flagrant 2 rule was actually written for. Analysts watching the same clip called it a flagrant 1 at most, and a few thought it didn't even rise to that level.
Nah, she was going for the ball and got the ball. By the way, going for the ball and got the ball. I mean, hold on. How about another angle?
Corner
Another
that Tamika
angle.
and I are blind to here.
Let me turn this down. Look at her. Grab the ball. And then look. You're going to see Angel. Angel's going to launch herself up in the air backwards into Harrison.
A flagrant 2 ruling requires officials to judge both intent and degree of force in real time, usually in about 4 seconds of huddle, so the margin for error is enormous. What most analysts think actually happened is that the refs let the game get chippy for 3 quarters without stepping in. And when it finally boiled over, they overcorrected with the heaviest penalty available to shut it down fast. That's not applying the rule. That's using the rule to manage a situation the officiating crew let get out of hand on their watch. Reese hit the floor and immediately looked up at the officials with the expression of someone who already knew exactly what call was coming. Whether she was genuinely hurt, or whether she understood how to frame the moment for everyone watching, she picked option 2 fast, and the tears followed quickly. Now, there's one more layer here that makes this messier. Harrison was actually Reese's teammate with the Chicago Sky last season and mentored her during her rookie year, so this wasn't just a physical confrontation between strangers. That history made the whole thing feel more personal, which probably explains why the emotional reaction came so quickly. Harrison's reaction after the ejection is the part that keeps circulating online.
Angel Reese and Isabelle Harrison. By the way, you guys do realize these two were teammates at one time. It's got to make you wonder how much drama was actually going on in 2024. Because they played on the Chicago Sky together. And Isabelle Harrison yesterday had Angel Reese in tears. In tears.
She didn't argue the call, didn't appeal to the bench, didn't look angry at all. She laughed, walking toward the tunnel, grabbing her things, just laughing, and that tells you everything about how she read what just happened.
As both are off and Izzy apparently all laughs as she will have to be removed.
For Howard. And a foul. Oh my, where they're getting.
Then Reese stepped to the free throw line with a quiet arena and every camera on her, and she missed both of them. Not one. Both gone, while the Toronto crowd booed her through every dribble of her routine. Missing free throws after the refs just handed you 2 points is the kind of thing that follows a player around, because it collapses the entire story she was trying to tell. You can't be the tough physical presence who forced the ejection, and the player who can't knock down uncontested free throws the ejection handed you. Atlanta won 102-77 anyway because Gray dropped 26 and Howard added 24, and Reese's actual box score got buried under the drama, which was probably the preferred outcome. Somewhere in the Chicago Sky front office, someone exhaled.
Angel Reese, part 13! Our mean machine, me bounding queen! Let's get it! Burn! Nobody airballs lamps like Angel Reese! Burn! It was a bad day to be a rim in Toronto. Me bound and dual prep, the signature duo. Bang! It's like a car crash. You just can't look away, man. Bang! Two-handed potty shot into a me bound. I've seen it all. Bang!
6 for 19. That's your answer for why Reese was in Harrison's face all night. Because when your shot isn't falling and you're taking up that much space on the floor, you need something else to stay in the conversation. 31% from the field sounds like a bad night, but Reese shot 13% against the Aces earlier this season and 29% in limited minutes against the Sky, so this isn't a slump. Her numbers haven't moved meaningfully since she entered the league, and her turnover rate has stayed stubbornly high the whole time. Let's talk about what 11 offensive rebounds actually means when you're shooting 31%. You're not scoring, you're just keeping possessions alive long enough for someone else to finish them. Reese grabbed 17 total rebounds on June 14th, and that's a real number, the one stat she can genuinely point to. But offensive rebounds that don't turn into points are just possession recycling. The team gets credit for the second chance opportunity, and Reese gets credit for the rebound, but Gray or Howard are the ones actually putting it in the basket.
She's a great low post player. She's really strong. She's got a good base. She got a good handle, and then layups. Really good. How many times will she get her shot blocked in one possession? Let's go. Not one. Not two. Three. Bang! Getting her shot blocked about 2.5 times per game. That seems almost impossible. She's always doing the impossible, like smoking a layup 5 feet past the rim from underneath. Bang! She's Oprah Winfrey, baby. You get a prep. You get a prep. We all get prep. Her butterfingers. Butter pecan. Bang!
The Dream's offense doesn't run through Reese, and the advanced numbers back that up pretty clearly. Atlanta's offensive rating doesn't spike when she's on the floor the way it does when Gray or Howard are running things, because Reese's post-up style forces the team into slower, more predictable half-court sets that good defenses can game plan for in advance. Toronto held Atlanta to just 13 points in the first quarter before Harrison got ejected and the paint opened up, and Reese's grinding post-game had a lot to do with why the offense looked so stuck early.
Alicia Gray, Atlanta's points leader, made against Connecticut last week. Reese still has the ball. In fact, Benley right now helping Toronto to this big lead early. Ladder deflected. Reese there to collect. Can't get off the glass. Up top, Reese. Thought she had it, but again, battles for a second chance.
Compare that to what Caitlin Clark does for Indiana's offense. When Clark's on the floor, the Fever run faster, generate cleaner looks, and shoot better from three because her range forces defenders out of the paint and opens up driving lanes for Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Lexi Hull. Clark makes the team better just by standing in her spot on the floor. Reese's impact is a lot harder to quantify in a positive direction, and Atlanta's on/off splits don't lie about that. The Chicago Sky let Reese walk this offseason and almost immediately looked like a team that could breathe again, and that's not a coincidence. Locker rooms carry the weight of a player who needs to be the story even when the story isn't going her way, and the Sky's attitude after the roster change told you something real about what the previous atmosphere felt like.
Canada with the drive. And Reese blocked by Mabry, not once but twice. Yushkaita's pass picked off, and then a good touch from Harrison calls for it back.
Absolutely, that's your post player leading the defense full court.
After the game, Dream head coach Carl Smesko complimented Reese's poise, which is what coaches say when they need a player to stay emotionally regulated heading into the next game on the schedule. Poise is not the word you use for the player who won you the game. Gray and Howard combined for 50 points while Reese shot 31%, and Smesko was out there praising her composure. While every camera in State Farm Arena kept chasing Reese's post battles and tears, Alicia Gray was running a quiet demolition job on the Toronto defense, and she did it without a single flagrant foul or a post-game cry session. Gray finished with 26 points on 8 of 14 shooting and knocked down 5 of 9 from 3, getting to her spots cleanly, making fast decisions, and finishing without needing contact to generate her points. That's what Atlanta's offense actually looks like when it's working. Not the grinding post-up sequences where Reese catches the ball, gets doubled, and either forces something bad or turns it over.
Izzy Harrison had Angel Reese in hell. Angel Soft? Anybody? Is that what we... Soft? Angel Soft. I'm more of a Charmin cat myself, but a lot of people like Angel Soft. I'm just putting that out there. So, this was... She got ejected. Isabelle Harrison got ejected. I'll show you why in a minute. J-Mac is right. Harrison had Angel Reese in all kinds of the hell. 2 of 13 from the field.
Rhyne Howard added 24 points on her own creation. Not off screens or second chance putbacks, just pulling up and making shots because she's that good. 2 guards, both building their scoring independently, both forcing Toronto's defense to cover ground on every single possession. And then, rookie Isabelle Borlasse came off the bench and dropped a career-high 17 on 5 of 6 from the field, including 2 threes. So Atlanta had 4 players in double figures, and Reese wasn't one of them, despite launching 19 shot attempts. Let's actually sit with that number for a second. Gray took 14 shots and scored 26. Howard scored 24 on fewer attempts. Borlasse came off the bench, took 6 shots, and scored 17. Reese took 19 shots more than anyone else on that team, and finished with 15 points on 31% shooting. Her usage rate on that roster isn't coming anywhere close to matching her output, and that's before counting the turnovers from post entries that stalled possessions completely.
Thanks, Nikki. And Javon Gray with aggression and a solid rebound. Toronto actually won the first quarter, rebounding by 1. Knock of to Hillman. Big trade out for Gray. She'll take it from deep.
Atlanta's 34-14 second quarter run broke the game wide open, and the broadcast framed it as Atlanta capitalizing on the disruption from Harrison's ejection, which is technically accurate. But Harrison was Toronto's most physical interior defender, and once she fouled out, the paint got noticeably easier to operate in. Gray and Borlasse both caught fire during that stretch, so you could argue Reese's manufactured drama accidentally cleared space for her teammates to go to work. That's not a basketball contribution, that's a side effect. Gray and Howard weren't going to need that kind of help regardless. They were going to get their points against a full-strength Toronto defense because that's just what they do. And Atlanta's best offensive stretches this season track back to those two more than any other factor on the roster.
Well, watch out the defense. This is what Atlanta brings, and Howard coast to coast. They're aware of her downhill attack, and then she gets to show it off. A response. Behind the ladder, deflected. Reese there to collect. Can't get off the glass, gets her own miss. Howard now lines up the 3. That one knocked in. Going to go from longer range. Howard with a strong take and a good.
After the game, Reese's public comments leaned hard on the Harrison incident and her rebounding total, which is smart if you're trying to keep people away from the shooting line, but the box score doesn't negotiate. Gray shot 57% and dished 7 assists. Borlasse shot 83% off the bench. Reese shot 31% and missed both free throws the flagrant handed her. Over in Indiana, Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, and Sophie Cunningham are all operating in a system where nobody needs to manufacture a moment to justify being on the floor. Atlanta's going to keep winning games this season because Gray and Howard are that good, and nothing about June 14th changes that. But winning 102-77 with Reese shooting 31% and bricking both free throws isn't a model you can build a franchise around, and 2026 is going to ask harder questions than this Toronto game did.
Get somebody thrown out of the game so you can actually try to do something, try to make a difference. Wow. Again, what the hell happened in 2024 on the Chicago Sky how much drama was there behind the scenes, and then we all remember the drama that happened last year.
Reese's whole media approach runs the opposite direction from what Clark does in Indiana. Clark shows up after bad games, answers the pointed questions directly, and lets her play drive the conversation rather than manufacturing incidents to stay relevant. That's not just a personality difference, it's a choice. And it's why Indiana's fanbase keeps growing while Atlanta's coverage keeps cycling back to the same controversy loop. Reese skips pre-game availability, jokes publicly about taking fines for missing media obligations, and frames every interaction with reporters as something being done to her rather than part of the job. So every news cycle about the Dream eventually circles back to Reese's feelings instead of the team's actual basketball. Clark is still getting better, and that's the part worth being genuinely excited about going into 2026. Kelsey Mitchell is one of the most dangerous guards in the league off the dribble. Aaliyah Boston controls the paint on both ends without needing drama to stay relevant. Lexi Hull defends every assignment she gets, and Sophie Cunningham plays with a physicality that's actually productive rather than just disruptive. Indiana's front office built around a player who pulls the defense apart with her range and makes everyone around her easier to use, and that's not an accident. That's a front office that understands what it actually has. Atlanta's construction is more fragile than the win total suggests right now. Gray and Howard have to stay healthy and efficient, while Reese generates enough rebounding volume and enough media noise to justify her usage. And when one of those pieces slips, the whole thing gets exposed pretty fast. June 14th showed exactly what that looks like. The Dream still won by 25, but Reese's actual contribution to that margin was 15 points on 19 attempts, 2 missed free throws, and an ejection that accidentally cleared the paint for Gray and Borlace to go to work in.
Is the Atlanta Dream really that much better with her? They had a really good team last year. Or is she just sucking all the air out of the room?
You can paper over that with a 25-point win. You can't paper over it with a full season of box scores. The WNBA going into 2026 has two very different stories running at the same time. Clark and the Fever are building something with a real structure underneath it, where the credit distributes naturally because nobody needs to manufacture a moment to justify their roster spot. Atlanta has Gray and Howard genuinely carrying a team, while their most covered player shoots under a third from the field and cries when the refs stop protecting her from the consequences of her own physicality. Harrison got ejected for a foul most analysts wouldn't have called a 2. Reese missed both free throws, and the Dream won anyway. Gray scored 26 points and didn't need a single flagrant to do it. Do you think Atlanta will finally let go of Reese after all this drama? Let me know down in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications as we're bringing you all the action and top stories. Click the video on the screen and we'll see you in the next one.